No.
Rarrr is a card drafting, set collection, hand management, and bidding game by Ape Games for 2 to 6 players, best with 4, and takes about 45 minutes to play. Rarrr is set in a kaiju-infested world where each player is a monster of his own creation, intent on single-handedly destroying more cities than the other kaiju. But why? You're a freaking monster. That's why. To set up the game, first begin by randomly dealing all players a base monster card. This card begins to identify the capabilities of your monster through the power icons on the bottom of the card and a single syllable for naming your monster. Next, deal all players 3 katakana cards that further describe what your monster name could be and what your abilities could be, shown by the icons on the bottom of the cards. 1 katakana card is chosen from each player's hands, and the remaining cards are passed to the left in a card drafting style mechanic. Each player again makes a choice. Now each player has 2 katakana cards and 1 monster card. The combination of these cards show each monster's name, and the power icons indicate the number of cards of a given type a monster can play in a given bid. For example, on the left, we have a monster, Awari, who is capable of playing 5 blue electrical attack cards as a bid, 3 green toxic attack cards, 4 red fire attack cards, or 0 purple radioactive attack cards. On the right, we have the Padito, who is capable of 1 blue electrical attack, 2 green toxic attacks, 5 red fire attacks, and 4 purple radioactive attacks. Next, place the 3 wildcard markers underneath the monsters. These extra cards allow for players to add either a 1, 2, or 3 bonus to an attack once per game. After that, it's time to see what cities we are going to destroy. 6 cities are drawn from the city deck and placed in the middle of the table for all to see. On each city is a city name, skyline, and monster flavor art. On the upper left is the symbol of a set of cities, victory points earned by set collection of these symbols in the advanced version of the game. On the upper right is the city's resistance to a given power type. For London, it is resistant to toxic damage and will earn a player 3 victory points. Each player is also given a score tracker so as to continually monitor the score quickly and easily. Finally, power cards are dealt from the power deck. Each player is given 12. Another round of card drafting begins, where a player selects a card and passes the rest to the left. Rinse, repeat. As players are drafting these cards, it is important for the player to look at not only the strengths of the cards, but also the power type and how it relates to the monster that you have already created and the cities you are preparing to attack. The first player is a player to have last seen a monster movie. That player's monster is dubbed the angriest monster, and that player determines which city to attack first. In this case, we chose New York. It was worth 5 points, and it was a place where I wanted to spend the bulk of my cards anyway. So I've got to make my power cards last, or Brian gets them for free. I choose to play a single fire card. The value of that bid is 1 card times the value of the sum of cards, in this case, also 1. So my net bid was 1. I was fishing, hoping that Brian would overbid and allow me to sweep the remaining cities. Once I completed my attack, I scored the sum value of the attack into my power dial to assure we all recalled the strength of my bid, which happens to be 1 point. Brian returns with a somewhat small bid as well. He plays a set of purple radioactive cards, a 2 and a 1. He played 2 cards with a sum of 3, so the net value of his bid would be a 6. He adds 6 to his power dial. I can't let him have 5 victory points with a bid of 6, so I hike up the bid even higher. I pull out my big guns. I play a set of electrical attacks at values 3, 2, and 1. 3 cards with a sum of 6 equals a value of 18 on my bid. Okay, maybe I overshot this bid. In either case, I replace the current value of my bid in my power dial with a new bid amount, ratcheting my bid up to 18. Brian concedes, and I collect the city. I collect New York as one of my cities to be summed at the end of the game as 5 points to my score. Also, since I won, Brian collects any 1 card from my winning set of power cards. He picks up the 3 electrical card. All other cards played during the round are discarded. The angriest monster moves to Brian, and he now selects a city. After that, the game repeats until all 6 cities have been won. All in all, it is a fairly simple and straightforward game that has an elegant design, so long as you don't mind the constant but simplistic math of the bidding mechanism. Also, there has been some discussion about whether the game plays with 2 players. We played with 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players, and although 4 players is best, 2 players didn't suffer too much. The bid aspect is obscured enough with each player's capability of bids, and constrained by the cards in your hand.
We are going to review Rarrr on Gamer's Remorse. Per our last review, we are going to review these games following our new unified rubric. This time we're going to switch it up. I'm going to go ahead and handle the first category, which is look and feel. Out of 2 points, I gave it 2. I gave it full marks. I don't think there's a thing I would change about it. There's some nitpickery I could do here and there. The rulebook had a typo. This little guy, the spool is off center, but that is it. Other than that, I don't think I would change a thing. The card stock is great quality. These spinners are great quality. They're really thick. The box is really cool too. I mean, it's on every side there's something, you know, it doesn't have the text block on the back that you would think, but that's actually on the bottom. And then it sheaths off like that. But that's probably not why you would buy a game. That's just little bits here and there that I thought were unique and novel in this game. The artwork is cartoony. I don't want to say it's clip art, but it's definitely vector art of Japanese kaiju. Is that Chinese or Japanese?
So Asian kaiju.
Of kaiju fighting it out in these cities, and that was just a lot of fun to play around with. It almost had a comic feel meets cartoony sort of a vibe to it, which was really cool to see. I wouldn't change a thing. The icons were great. It was very discernible what they were. They even had color differences, so maybe if you're sitting all the way across the table, you can't see what the icon is, you could see the color, which would help out. And then of course the graphics themselves are different for colorblind people if they don't understand or they can't discern the color difference. Yeah. I don't think I would change a thing in regards to the look and feel. Brian, what did you think? Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to agree with you on this one. The iconography is amazing. I love the color choices. One of the things that struck me at the first time we dealed out the cities, and I just still love it, is at the bottom of the city it has a silhouette of that city. So there are recognizable things. So in Sydney you have the Opera House, in London you have Big Ben. It's just kind of fun, you know, you want to know, oh, what cities are next, what will they have on it? That was really enjoyable. The only thing that was a setback, and not so much for me, but I was showing this game to some friends of mine, and they're like, but that box won't fit on my shelf right. And I just kind of look at them like, you're an idiot. But those are the same people who don't buy Couriers because it came in an awesome 10. But I mean, yeah, I think it deserves the full marks that you gave it.
Good deal. Balance and mechanics. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I thought it was very well balanced. I am not a huge fan of randomization because I always feel like that takes away from some of the skill. But by doing a drafting, I think that really fixed that randomness aspect. Is I take a card, I pass the deck. I take a card, I pass the deck. And I think that really improved the balance of a random deal. And the other mechanics of, you know, you can only play one of the 4 types and then other people get to play and then you have to play a different type. Like, I thought that was really fun and it added a whole nother level of strategy into when you play what you play. So I thought that was fantastic. So I think that deserves 1.5 out of 2. How about pacing? What are your thoughts?
Pacing, that's where this game struggles a little bit. For being such a strong contender in the other areas, it shows that in a larger group, this game would slow down considerably because there is a lot of metagaming going on in this. There's a lot of consideration of what cards does that other player have, because I know I saw them in the drafting mechanic. I bet they picked up that card. So it's very much think 10 steps ahead of where you're going. And so people could really be hindered on that. But again, if that's not a concern to you, how the game is organized, it goes around in a circle very fast until you run into players that have a lot of the I have to think 10 steps ahead, particularly the strategic gamers. But overall, I think the game was built so that the pacing went well, but I gave it 0.5 out of 1. It lost that half point because of the more strategic gamers. What about theme, Brian? What do you think of that?
The theme I was interested in before play. I love this idea of, hey, we're giant monsters attacking each other. I mean, we're not attacking the city. Who does that, right? We're attacking each other. That's more fun. And I just really enjoyed that aspect of we each have various abilities at our exposure.
Yes.
We each have various abilities at our expense that we can use, whether it be biotic, whether it be fire, electricity, atomic. So that was just really fun trying to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna use, oh no, he's resistant to this, I can't. I really enjoyed that aspect of, you know, I'm a giant Paidito fighting a giant...
You're a giant potato.
Yeah, I'm a giant potato following an aware. I thought that was really fun, and
it's a wari. It's French.
It's an awari.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. I mean, I thought it deserved 1.75 out of 2. But what are your thoughts?
Nice. I gave it 1.5. So again, that's in the margin. So 1.75 is probably reasonable. I thought there was a lot of theme there. I gave it 1.5 because I thought maybe it didn't quite get all the way there because you're one person powering up this kaiju with all these cards. The kaiju's probably just gonna smash and bash. I mean, that's what they do. Maybe if they added an element of like you're a mad scientist controlling a kaiju, that would be pretty sweet. But it didn't need it, you know? I mean, it was there. So 1.75, I agree.
How about the ease to learn?
Easy to learn, I gave it 0.5 out of 1. The reason for that is I thought the game was fairly simple, right? The mechanics weren't anything new or crazy that didn't make a whole lot of sense to us. It made a lot of sense, but the rule book was laid out in such a way that perhaps it slowed down the learning. There's a lot of extra words, there's a lot of referencing other pages, there was the occasional typo, but that's not to say that it's an impossible game to learn, not by any means. I just thought for such a simple game, you could probably just have a couple of pages and that would be enough, but it's not going to take away from the overall gameplay, which again is why in our rubric it only scores a 1 point out of 10. So we're giving it 0.5 out of 1, or at least I thought so. What did you think, Brian? Replayability, what do you think, Brian?
I think replayability varies by the group and the group size specifically. So I gave it 1.5. For, again, 1 to 4 players, I think very replayable. You play around, let's play it again. Or next game night, I could see people bringing this time after time to a game night. But if you have 6 people, I mean, that is the game night. It's playing this and waiting for the other people to play. But what are your thoughts?
I think you're spot on, yeah. 1.5 is what I would give it. It worked well for 2 players. It would work great for 3, 4. 5 and 6, I have to wonder if the fun just drops off because then you spend a lot of time waiting. You always have that one player that's either analysis paralysis prone and then another player. There seems to be a group of gamers out there that I don't think have been defined yet that are anti-analysis paralysis, where their mind wanders. ADHD, maybe, gamers? Yeah. Like, is that a thing? Where they're whipping out their phone, their Facebook, and, you know, while AP guy over there is like, Yeah. So, I would agree. Of course, we highly recommend this game. Maybe try and play it with a smaller group. But again, I haven't played it with a group of 6, so maybe it scales well. Maybe something to try out. We'd love to hear your comments if you've played this with a group of 6. One other thing we'd like to do is figure out, is it worth the cost? Yeah. And?
According to Funnigan, it's pre-ordered at $16.
Wow. So for $16 you could own this game. Is it worth it?
Yes.
That's fairly simple. Yeah. 16 bucks, absolutely.
Yeah.
No question. Yep. The quality alone and replayability added together.
I mean, play it once, you got your money's worth.
Yep. So, not much contention there.
Yeah.
Check this game out.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.